A single overheard call turned Clara's life upside down. In one night, love became betrayal, and family became the enemy. Welcome to African Folktale by Prince, where African stories come alive. Subscribe and join the family of storytellers. Clara drove to a small cafe 3 blocks from her street, a quiet place where the lights always glowed warm and steady. She parked under a flickering lamp at the edge of the lot, hands still trembling. Her phone lay heavy in her lap. "You wouldn't," she whispered to herself, but her heart already knew the truth. She opened her banking app, her thumb barely steady enough to tap the code. The number that appeared made her breath catch. "No, no, no," she murmured, staring at the screen. $25,000, gone. Withdrawn yesterday. Her chest tightened. Only 3 people had access. Herself, her mother Dora, and her cousin B. Panic blurred her vision for a moment, but she forced herself to stay calm. She pressed the call button for her bank. A calm voice answered. "Greenhill Bank, this is Nia. How can I help?" "Hi, I'm Clara Brooks," she said quickly. "There's money missing from my savings account. I need to review the recent activity." Nia's tone softened immediately. "I'm pulling it up now, Ms. Brooks. One moment, please." There was a pause. Then Nia said, carefully, "Yes, I see a transfer yesterday at 2:15 p.m. from your home computer. Correct password, no flags." Clara gripped the phone tighter. "Can you show me the last 6 months?" she asked. Keyboard clicks filled the line, then a long silence. Finally, Nia spoke again, voice cautious. "Ms. Brooks, there have been 10 withdrawals in the last 6 months, totaling $210,000. Clara closed her eyes. 10 years of savings since she was 22, all gone. "Thank you," she whispered faintly, then ended the call before her voice could break. The sky outside burned orange and red, the kind of sunset that should have been beautiful. Clara stared at it, angry at how normal the world looked while hers fell apart. She breathed slowly, 1, 2, 3, counting to 8. Then again, she wouldn't confront them. Not yet. She needed evidence. Real evidence. Turning the car key again, she whispered, "Not home. Not yet." And instead of heading for her driveway, she circled back to her neighborhood, parking 2 houses away. Tonight, she would find out exactly what they'd done. Clara waited until the street settled into its usual nighttime quiet. The neighbor's porch light blinked off, dogs stopped barking, and only the faint hum of televisions drifted through open windows. She slipped through the side yard, moving carefully along the fence, and reached her own house. Her bedroom window, the one she always left cracked for fresh air, slid open with a soft creak. She climbed through, heart pounding so hard she feared it might echo down the hallway. Downstairs, the television played some cheerful game show. Laughter and applause floated up through the vents, the same sounds that had once made the house feel alive. Now they made her skin crawl. Clara sat at her desk and opened her laptop. "Show me," she whispered, typing fast. The browser history blinked up at her. Bank logins from BEA's user profile, repeated every few days. Her breath hitched. Next, she opened her credit card statements, scrolling through months she'd barely looked at. Handbags, shoes, jewelry, tens of thousands in charges she hadn't made. Her voice broke as she murmured, "B, how could you?" She pressed her palms against her eyes, forcing herself not to cry again. If they could lie about money, what else had they lied about? Her thoughts slid toward the memory of her father's accident. 3 years ago, Dora had called her sobbing, saying the crash was terrible, the coffin closed, the cremation quick. Clara had paid for everything. A chill ran through her. "Why so small?" she whispered. The funeral had felt rushed, almost secretive, but she shook the thought away. One thing at a time. She needed proof. Not guesses. Not memories. Real evidence. Clara rose quietly, tiptoeing down the hall, her bare feet avoiding the floorboards she knew would squeak. Dora's door stood slightly open. Inside, the TV murmured faintly from the living room, the laugh track still going. Clara slipped into her mother's room, her phone flashlight low to the ground. She searched drawers. The top one held perfume bottles and face creams, all ones she'd bought for Dora. The second drawer was packed with new clothes, tags still hanging. The bottom one, heavy sweaters and something solid underneath. Clara's heart thudded. "There you are," she whispered, spotting a small metal lockbox. Clara glanced around the room. No key in sight. Then her gaze landed on her mother's necklace, a thin silver chain glinting faintly at her throat. Something small dangled from the clasp. "Please," Clara whispered. Her fingers trembled as she reached out, working the clasp loose. Dora stirred slightly in her sleep, and Clara froze. After a few seconds, her mother sighed and turned over. Carefully, Clara freed the necklace, slipped the tiny key off, and opened the lockbox. Inside were papers, bank statements, credit cards, and a personal loan. But none of them were accounts Clara recognized. Each one bore her name and signature, but the handwriting wasn't hers. Total debt, $120,000. Identity theft, she breathed, photographing every page with her phone. Her stomach twisted, but she stayed focused. She returned the papers exactly as they'd been, locked the box, and reattached the necklace around Dora's neck. Back in her room, Clara emailed herself the photos and uploaded them to a secure folder labeled Proof. Only then did her hands begin to shake. She pressed both palms over her mouth to keep from sobbing aloud. Downstairs, the laughter track rolled on. The sound made her feel sick. "Were any of our nights real?" she whispered to the dark. After a long pause, she scrolled through her contacts and called Mark Lane, the lawyer she'd found the night before when panic had first crept in. He answered quickly. "Ms. Brooks." "Mark, it's Clara. I have proof. Bank logins, forged accounts, a lockbox full of fake papers. I photographed everything." "Good," Mark said calmly. "This is beyond theft. It's identity fraud and conspiracy. Listen carefully. Change every password tonight. Freeze your credit, call your banks, and place fraud alerts. Tomorrow we file a report." "I won't confront them," Clara said, though her blood burned to do exactly that. "Don't," Mark warned. "Get real-time evidence if you can, camera footage, screen captures, anything." Clara spent the next 2 hours changing passwords to long nonsense strings, storing them in a secure app. Then she ordered 2 tiny Wi-Fi cameras from a nearby electronics store, one disguised as a desk clock, another as a picture frame. Later that night, she climbed back in through her window. Dora and BEA's laughter echoed faintly from below. Clara set the clock camera on her desk, the frame camera on a bookshelf, linked them to her phone, and left again to wait in her car down the street. An hour later, her phone buzzed. "Motion detected. Office." Clara's heart jumped. She opened the feed and saw B step into the room, glancing over her shoulder. B sat at Clara's computer, typing quickly. "Wrong password." "Again." "Wrong." BEA's jaw tightened. She pulled out her phone, talking rapidly to someone, probably Dora. Clara couldn't hear the words, but she didn't need to. BEA's movements were fast, nervous. After another failed attempt, she slammed the laptop shut and left. Clara let out a long, shaking breath. Proof, she thought. Finally, proof. The next morning, she forced herself to act normal. Dora poured coffee, cheerful as ever. "Good morning, sweetheart." "Morning," B added casually, scrolling on her phone. "Rough night." Clara smiled faintly. "Just tired. Heading in early." She grabbed her keys and left before her hands could betray her calm. That evening, B knocked on her door, pretending to smile. "Hey, can I borrow your laptop? Mine's acting up." Clara hesitated. "Sure, but I changed all my passwords after a security alert. Hard to keep track now." BEA's expression flickered, her voice sharp for half a second. "You changed all your passwords?" "Yeah," Clara said simply. "Every one." BEA's smile tightened. "Never mind," she said quickly. "I'll use my phone." She left, but Clara followed quietly to the stairs. Below, B whispered harshly. "She changed everything." Dora's voice turned cold. "Did she say why?" "Something about security." A pause. "Then we move faster," Dora said. Clara gripped the railing. "How much do we have now?" "About 350,000, B replied. "And her investments? Almost 300 more if we can reach them." "Too risky now," Dora snapped. "We prepare to leave." Clara's stomach churned. "They're running," she whispered. She texted Mark immediately. "They're planning to leave. Forged loan papers too." "What do I do?" He called within minutes. "Secure the documents tonight if you can. Don't remove them, just photograph them. We'll need them for the police." "Understood," Clara said, steadying her breath. She waited until the house filled again with the sound of laughter and dishes, then slipped quietly to Dora's room. The lockbox was gone. Panic flickered through her chest. They'd moved it. She scanned every corner. Nothing. Then she glanced toward BEA's door at the far end of the hall. Locked. She remembered the photo she'd taken of the necklace key earlier. That afternoon, she'd had a copy made at a kiosk, just in case. Now she pulled the small key from an envelope hidden in a book. Please work, she whispered. The lock turned with a soft click. Inside, BEA's room smelled faintly of perfume and hairspray. Clothes were strewn everywhere. Clara knelt by the closet and reached behind a pile of shoes. Her fingers hit cold metal. The lockbox. Inside were 3 forged promissory notes. 50,000, 75,000, 30,000, all with her faked signature. Plane tickets to Miami. 2 fake names. Got you, Clara whispered, snapping photos of everything. A car door slammed outside. Her blood froze. She shoved the papers back, relocked the box, and slipped out just as the front door opened below. Clara, Dora called sweetly. Home already? Clara forced her voice steady. Just resting. Footsteps came up the stairs. Bea went straight to her room. The doorknob turned, unlocked. Clara's heart pounded. She heard drawers open, then close, then silence. A knock followed. Come in, Clara said. Dora and Bea stepped inside, both wearing careful concern. Honey, Dora said softly. You've been different lately. Passwords. Early mornings. Were you in BEA's room? No, Clara said evenly. Bea pulled a folded paper from her pocket, holding it like a weapon. You borrowed money from us, remember? You signed this. She handed it over. Clara's eyes scanned the page. Her signature, close but not right. The loop of the C too high. That isn't mine, Clara said quietly. BEA's eyes shimmered with fake tears. You need help, Clara? You've been paranoid. Maybe we should call someone. Go ahead, Clara said, her tone icy calm. Call the police. Ask for Officers Davis or Thomas. Tell them I have evidence. Within minutes, 2 officers arrived. Dora's performance began instantly, trembling voice, watery eyes. Our daughter is unstable. She's accusing us of things that never happened. Clara opened her laptop and showed the folder labeled proof. The officers leaned closer, studying photos, timestamps, and the live feed of Bea at her desk. The truth was plain. An hour later, both Dora and Bea were in custody, charged with fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy. Months later, the court declared them guilty. As Clara stood outside the courthouse, she whispered to herself, kindness isn't weakness. Family isn't blood, it's love that doesn't steal. The wind stirred gently, and for the first time in years, she felt free. White heavy checkmark moral. Family is not defined by blood, but by loyalty and integrity. Protect your heart and your hard work, because love built on deceit isn't love at all. Please, like and share. Don't forget to subscribe to African Folktale by Prince.